Hello, today is July 2nd, 2018. I'm Roger Veer.
We already have some really good eye movement. Reference for date. Always love those. It's a good indicator of a mind that wants to try. So we see his body is already stiff, barely moves his neck, head, anything. Not indicative of deception, more indicative of stress.
The CEO of Bitcoin.com. But today I want to tell you about my couple of things today, but I want to tell you about my own story about being tortured in federal prison in the United States. And I think I've told some people this face to face, but I've been meaning to write about it and put it down to words, but I've certainly never made a video about it today. And there were a couple of things that came together that made me motivated to do it today. So
Saw a little bit of an eye roll there. I kind of let it play through. We go back.
Put it down to words, but I've certainly never made a video about it today. And there were a couple
That eye roll right there. It's an eye roll, and then we go to a visual reference.
of things that came together.
And so then he tells you what it was, some things that came together. To me, when I see that, I see something that says something annoyed me or something of an annoyance came to light. And then he visualized what that annoyance was. And now he's making a video.
That made me motivated to do it today. So one of those things is that Ross Ulbricht, the person accused of starting the Silk Road.
There's one annoyance that he's pointing out to you. Oh, this is going to be good. Not only do you get to sit there and actually see these tells and me point them out to you, this individual is actually going to tell you exactly what it was.
Has now been in federal prison in the United States for about 5 years. That's a long time. Think about how old you are today and subtract 5 years from that, and imagine if you had been in prison that entire time, how much of your life would have slipped away because of that. And the thing that's making me motivated to record this video today is there's another person by the name of Gary Davis, who's an Irish person, been living in Ireland his whole life, never ever been to the United States, who's accused of being the moderator on the forum to discuss things about the Silk Road. And the United States government is extraditing him from Ireland. So he's going to go from Ireland to a country that he's never been to in his entire life. And he's looking at life in prison for being the moderator of a forum that allowed people to discuss things on the internet. And as someone who spent some time in federal prison, I understand just
Now, he's done this a couple of times now. He's done a real search around. Not really talking much about his body. He is trying to move, but he's stressed, very stressed. And when you see that conflict of somebody who's trying to move and with a whole lot of stress, you kind of have to give him the benefit of a doubt. He's making appropriate eye movements. He's referencing things and he's telling you what's on his mind. That's not indicative of a deceptive person.
how terrifying it must be for Gary, and how terrifying it is for anybody in that sort of situation. And I guess I'm making this video because I want more people around the world to know about the sort of things that go on in federal prisons in the United States. And for those that don't know, I did 10 months in federal prison from 2002 until 2003 for selling firecrackers on eBay back when eBay had a guns and ammo section, and it wasn't a big deal to do that at all. And in fact, the real reason that I actually went to prison is because I was busy saying things like the things that I'm going to say in this video. And politicians don't like it when you speak truth to power, and that's too bad. The truth is more important than what the politicians like, and the truth is more important than being popular with a bunch of politicians or anything like that. So anyhow, this video, I guess, is...
So you see him wiggle there, and what you're seeing is the extreme stress. He goes through this spiel, speaking truth to power, and then you see a bunch of wiggling as he goes through all this little spiel that he's giving. And really, it's like speaking truth to power, the body gets really, really, really tight, and then you're trying to loosen it up because he's already tight to begin with. You know, screw, a little tighter, it's going to be stressed to the breaking point. And then you see at the very end of that, he starts to wiggle it out. It'll almost be an escape mindset, but he's put his mindset in the point of, I'm not going to run away from this, I'm confronting this. So it just makes him really uncomfortable.
And I made the mistake of choosing to start my prison sentence on a Friday. Don't ever start your prison sentence on a Friday, and certainly don't do it on a Friday before a national holiday. And I think it was right before Memorial Day or Labor Day or something like that. And showed up on Friday morning there at Lompoc, near Santa Barbara, California, for those that are familiar with the area. And the way it works is they have to classify your security level at the prison. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm a pretty white collar kind of guy. But my actual charge was dealing in explosives without a license. And it's worth pointing out that the criminal act isn't the selling of explosives, and these are firecrackers I bought on one website and sold on another. And the crime isn't selling the explosives, it's doing it without the license. So it's simply just not getting a permission slip to sell the firecrackers. And anybody, if you want to, I'll put a link in the description. You can read about the exact product I was selling. They were sold by Cabela Sporting Goods catalog. It was sold by a bunch of other resellers on eBay. People all over the country were selling it. The manufacturer manufactured over 1 million of the units. I sold a few thousand of them. The manufacturer basically was just told to stop selling them. Nobody had to pay a fine or go to jail, except for me, because I spoke truth to power. Taxation is theft. The draft is the moral equivalent of kidnapping and slavery. And war is mass murder, funded by theft. So that's the truth. If you don't like it, sorry, the truth doesn't bend to whether or not we like it being the truth or not. So anyhow.
I will say that although most of what he said I agree with, that's opinion. Some of it has some truth in it. I like, though, after he says it, he gets kind of loose, like he said it, I said it. Arms come forward into the lap, trying to loosen up a little bit more. I think it's just a very alarming one to hear this kind of thing, live in this country, and actually expect to have freedom.
Showed up at federal prison there, and they were waiting to classify me. So when they haven't classified you yet, they send you to the highest security level that they have within the prison. So it's called the SHU, which SHU, which stands for Special Housing Unit, which is just a euphemism for the jail within jail. So they sent me to the jail within jail there, which was a little tiny room with 3 bunk beds, so 6 people total, and a toilet and a shower with no privacy or door or anything at all around the toilet or the shower. So like absolutely no privacy whatsoever, and so little ventilation that everybody just basically strips down to their underwear and lays in their bunk because it's so hot in there just from everybody's body heat and the lack of ventilation in there. So I was there all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Normally you're allowed out for 1 hour a day, but that's on weekdays, I believe. And then Monday was a national holiday, so I didn't get out on Monday either. So I was in there for 4 or 5 days straight, and my entire world was, felt like it was already felt like it was being turned upside down. But my attorney representing me, the prosecuting U.S. attorney, the judge, everybody assured me that I would be going to what's called a federal prison camp, where there would just be a line on the ground that you're not supposed to go past. And they assured me that it'd be just like going to summer camp, but you'll be there with a bunch of doctors, lawyers, and drug dealers. And as a kid, I loved summer camp. And I didn't really believe them that it would be just like summer camp, but I didn't think I was going to be locked in a little tiny cell 24 hours a day for the first 4 or 5 days straight with 5 other people that I didn't know at all, and absolutely no privacy, even for the restroom at all. So anyhow, I was there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Tuesday, I got out for an hour to go in the little, maybe, 8 feet by 8 feet or 6 feet by 6 feet, little cyclone fence where you can get a little bit of fresh air and a little bit of sunlight. I was out in that for 1 hour and then went back. And then I think it was on Wednesday they finally got around to classifying where I would go within the prison. And they let me out of the jail within the jail. And they sent me to the prison laundry to get my prison clothes. And the prison clothes are like a khaki shirt and some khaki pants with a belt that's made out of like the life vest clicker, like plastic clips that you would imagine from a life vest on a boat for the belt. And then they gave me some big, giant, clunky work boots that who knows how many people had worn those boots before me. They had definitely seen better days. But anyhow, so they give me the shirt and the pants and the boots, and then they tell me to go and see the prison counselor. And it's not a counselor; it's just another guard. And the prison counselor's job is to give you your bunk assignments. So they tell me to go from the prison laundry to the prison counselor, which is 50 yards away or something, not very far at all. So I walk from the laundry to see the counselor. I walk into the the counselor's office that they told me to walk into. And as soon as I walk in, the one guard that's in there, he jumps up and starts shouting at me, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't come just walking in here like this. We have to search you first. Put your hands on the wall. Put your hands on the wall. We need to search you first. And the other guard is just watching him. And even the other guard looked surprised by this guy's reaction when I came into the room. But like, there's two guards, right? One guard says, put your hands on the wall. We have to search you. The other guard's kind of looking at him. And the one guard, I turn around and put my hands on the wall, and he starts patting me down. And as he's patting me down, I'm pretty sure that I can see something in his hand, but I'm not sure what it is. And I'm not in a position to make demands of anybody at that point. I'm a prisoner in a federal prison, but I can see there's something in his hand as he's patting me down. I'm pretty sure. And then when he gets down to these boots that I've only had on for like 2 minutes and walked maybe 50 yards in, the big, giant, clunky work boots, he pulls out this, big shank, sharpened screwdriver. And he starts screaming at me about how, you're coming in here with a shank. Are you trying to shank somebody? You're going to do more time for this. And I'm telling him, it's not mine. It's not mine. I don't know where it came from. And he's screaming and yelling at me about how I have this shank and he starts telling me that I'm going to do an additional 2 years in federal prison, and 10 months already felt like forever. I'd already had a really, really rough 5 days being in the jail within jail, and I didn't really know what the overall jail experience was going to be. And he's planted a shank on me and screaming at me about how I'm going to do an additional 2 years in prison for having this shank that he put on me. And I'm telling him, it's not mine, it's not mine. And like 10 months felt like forever. Going from 10 months, I'm only 5 days in and already having a rough time. And I think I'm going to go from 10 months to 2 years and 10 months because either this guy planted a shank on me or it was already in the boots that I had just received from the laundry a few minutes ago anyhow. And I'm telling him, it's not mine, it's not mine. I don't know where it came from. I don't know where it came from. And he's screaming at me about how I'm going to do an additional 2 years in prison. And of course, understandably, I start to cry and the tears start running down my face because I think I'm going to be separated from my family for an additional 2 years on top of the 10 months that I'd already barely come to grips with that I was going to have to do. And when he sees that enough tears are coming down my face and that I'm crying enough, he pats me on the shoulder, goes, relax, I'm just kidding with you, have a seat. And so that man just purely tortured me for his own amusement. And the other guard sat there and watched the whole thing. And I don't know exactly what went through the head of the other guard, but at that time, I got assigned to a bunk in a big, giant warehouse-sized room with, I don't know, a couple hundred other people in there. That's so loud from all the like tile floor and concrete walls, and the sound really echoes around in there, and it's like really, really difficult to sleep. And of course, no privacy there at all either. So they assigned me to the bunk there, and I, didn't hear anything more at that time. But then maybe after I'd only been in the jail maybe 3 weeks or so, they called me back to the counselor's office, and it was at this time it was just the one guard that had watched the other guard torture me and bring me to tears, thinking that I'm going to do an additional 2 years in prison because he planted a shank on me. It was just purely did that for his own amusement. But the other guard was there, and he told me, you have a new bunk assignment. And I'm still pretty new to the whole place. I don't know what that means, but he assigned me to there's a lot of jokes in prison, but they call it the private suite. It's not really a private suite, and it's not nearly as nice as it sounds, but everybody has to be an optimist in prison. So there's all sorts of things that people are optimistic about at prison, and there's like lists that go around the prison of things to be optimistic about in prison, like the top, I think it was a top 100 list of things the good things about being in prison. And some of them, if you can have a good attitude, are kind of funny. So like an example of some of these things on the list about the best things about being in prison is you don't have to worry about what you're going to cook for dinner.
So at this point, he's really relaxed in telling the story. A lot more movement. The neck is moving. The head's moving independently. The shoulders are moving. The chest is moving. That's moving. Comparatively speaking to the beginning of this, where he was pretty much a stiff board. Granted, the stress is still there. I don't know if you guys watched the Tommy Robinson one I did where he first got out, but you'll have people who go through it and they permanently have PTSD. And then you have people that go through it and it's temporary. My experience is the older you are going through it, the less trauma that's permanent. And by that, it just means that older people have developed coping mechanisms that allow them to get through trauma.
So anyhow, I just wanted to display my absolute, complete, and utter disgust with the American federal injustice system. And you know what? Maybe the federal injustice system of the United States is better than some other countries, but they're all pretty damn bad in my book.
I'll read this to you for those who do not know about the Stanford Prison Experiment. This is from Wikipedia. Early reports on experimental results claim that students quickly embraced their assigned roles, with some guards enforcing authoritarian measures and ultimately subjecting some prisoners to psychological torture, as the story you just heard from this young man. While many prisoners passively accepted the psychological abuse, and by the officer's request actively harassed other prisoners who tried to stop it. The experiment has been described in many introductory social textbooks, although some are beginning to exclude it because its methodology is questioned. Yeah, don't let the truth out about how things actually go. And absolute power never corrupts absolutely. If you liked it, leave a like.
If you like the content, please subscribe using this link via specific feeds. You'll be sent notifications to the full-length videos and ones that can't make it to YouTube, and you won't mysteriously be unsubscribed either. There's now a video course available on her website for gold subscribers, where Mandy teaches more about her techniques of deception detection. There's also other content such as the Crime Series, an Interesting Mind series, and monthly podcasts available to both gold and silver subscribers.
If you like it, please share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.